All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to the first official episode of Chillin With Yellow, because I'm really good at coming up with titles. My name's YellowHat, and to my left here I have the oh so beautiful Chillst3p.
Oh, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Hey guys, how's it going?
Heck yeah, dudes. All right, so I think we start with some introductions. So people that don't know us can figure out who we are. So you can go first.
My name is Chillst3p. I'm kind of a big deal. No, I'm just kidding. So I play Pavlov professionally. Not really though, because there is no professional Pavlov scene. But as most of you in chat would know, there is a sort of esports scene for Pavlov. It's like a kind of casual VRML Master League, and I play in that. And that's pretty much why I'm here, to help discuss with YellowHat about Pavlov.
Cool, man. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's YellowHat, as here. And so I kind of have been doing a lot of gun guides for Pavlov VR. I've recently gotten into the scene. I haven't been in it as long as Chillst3p over here. And we kind of had this idea that like wanted to do some sort of podcast. I actually reached out to Chill, and I'm really grateful that you wanted to do this in the first place.
It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. But yeah, freaking so let's start with like how we got into VR and all that, because just for introduction purposes. So I actually got into VR kind of recently. I mean within the last year. It's about this time last year that I'd started watching some videos, and I'd actually had a friend introduce me to VR back in 2018. I was just starting off in grad. This is the coolest thing ever. Like, and like he had me playing like Job Simulator. Like,
it really blows you away when you first get in there, right? Like
it was on like an HTC Vive too, right? And like, but I was doing my research. I'm like, all right, like I actually want to get like an index and everything. And I hadn't built my computer until 2019, summer 20. My rig's coming up on 2 years old, and so I was like, I knew about Pavlov, I knew about other VR stuff. I just think VR is the future. I have to get it now, and I've been wanting to like start making content on that. So freaking I got it in the summer after waiting 11 weeks, and Pavlov bought like AWP and a few other games like Super Hot, and here I am now. I mean,
yeah, what made you stay for Pavlov?
I was very much on and off with it in the summer, and I was like, I looked up to see if there was an esports scene. I did the same thing with what's I was like, what's what like esports stuff is there for VR? I mean, it's relatively new, so I mean, it's got to be something. There's got to be something. And so I looked up Onward, and I looked up Pavlov, and I found like a few VODs. Crank that up. Is that a little bit better, y'all? We kind of do the sound check.
I think it's probably your voice threshold or something cutting out.
Yeah, probably.
I can hear you fine in Discord.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Perfect now. All right, dope.
Yeah,
All
as long as you talk like into the mic. It's
yeah. I also just turn up the game. Anyways, so I was very on and off with it, and I think like most people, I got my start with TTT and just death matching, and so in December I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go to like an actual recruitment and see what I can do. I had all of like 200 hours at that point, and I went to 2 recruitments. I think it was you and Crumb actually. Like Crumb messaged me after like the first recruitment. He's like, hey man, you should like actually stick around and do another one. I'm like, okay. So and I mean, I was pretty trash at the time, and I'm still kind of trash, but but I stuck around, and I landed myself a spot on Team Vortex, which I mean, I'm grateful to be around those guys. They're a good bunch, and I think honestly it's a perfect fit for me. But that's kind of why I stuck around, because I mean, I've always wanted to do something esports related. And I mean, this is a good start to actually doing something in the field of esports, whether I wind up still being a player, or whether I wind up doing casting or whatever. But I mean, I'm enjoying it so far, even though the season hasn't started. But what about you? What got you into VR?
Yeah, so I played a little bit of VR at a friend's house, and I thought it was the coolest thing because, like, you never really understand how fucking cool VR is until you actually get in the headset and you have, the binocular vision and you can see everything and you have like kind of peripheral vision. It's crazy. And I played a little bit of that and just thought it was cool, so I wanted to get it for myself. Tried a few games out, and Pavlov was just the one that kept me going because it was so easy to just drop in and just start blasting people, and just like the feel of just actually being in the game. I could kind of like in my head like role play, that I'm actually, an army guy. Like when I was a kid, I was always the army guy for Halloween and all that. Like I always thought I was going to be joining the military or something, and then ultimately when I grew up I was like, no, that sounds hard, I don't want to do that. But like it gives you this feeling. Like I'd always played a bunch of paintball and airsoft and all that, and then Pavlov just gave me that feeling but better, because I actually could trick myself into thinking I was firing a real weapon, and like in an actual firefight, and it was just the coolest thing. So then I'm just addicted like forever. Like for the esports scene, like I've always been a competitive player. Like I played Titanfall, like not really competitively, right? I just played like a bunch of Titanfall and got to Diamond or whatever, and I thought that was like that feeling of just accomplishing that was the best thing to me. So being able to do that in VR and like actually play in league games and things is a new thing to me. I've not traditionally ever been in a league for a game, and I feel like we're lucky in that. Like getting into league in Pavlov is so easy because it's so small still, and like it's like the people right now who are at the top of the league, or even like in the middle of the league, are going to be at the top of the league later on. I feel like even when all those CSGO players come over, if we all keep playing and we keep trying to get better and better, like we're kind of carving out a new esports scene for ourselves for when VR hopefully eventually becomes mainstream. And yeah, so I'm just like hella addicted to this, just like the feeling of being good at something competitively and just being immersed in it more than I ever have in a video game before. Like it just keeps me hooked for sure.
Yeah, man, I feel that. I mean, I've definitely dabbled with a lot of like competitive stuff, when you're like 14 years old and you're playing Call of Duty and your friends like, hey, want to do like game battles or something, and you're just doing like 3v3s. And
Yeah.
that was kind of like my start with like competitive. And then I'm gonna say the dreaded F word, but Fortnite, that came out in 2017. I was actually on a team for a month, but I was also trying to student teach at the same time because I was.
What, you played Fortnite but not Pop 1 yet?
No, I've played Pop 1. Like,
oh, you played Pop 1. Okay.
Yeah. No, I played a little bit of Pop 1. But yeah, so that was back in 2017, and I was like, that was when I was still playing console stuff, and I was like pretty. I'd like to think I was pretty solid at that, but I was on a team for about a month before I got the boot because schoolwork and all that, because I was in my last semester of college trying to finish up everything. And so we had that, and then I just like grinded other stuff. Like even from like 2015 I'd been grinding CSGO here and there, but I didn't have like a full-on gaming PC like I do now. And then the other thing that I grinded pretty hard was Valorant. I grinded it this past summer, and I was in Diamond, like Diamond 2 or whatever, so which is like above average probably now. But I mean, I've always been this sort of like competitive player, like the sweat of the group, if you will.
Yeah, same here.
But I mean, I think VR definitely, it's just that like next level of immersion, and you just get hooked. And especially like if you feel that the first time, you're just like, I want to freaking do this. Like my friend showed me, my friend who showed me Job Simulator that I was talking about earlier, he showed me H3 VR as well. I'm like, dude, this is freaking amazing. Like this is basically like being at the freaking range, And like I'm not even like that much of like a firearms person per se. Like I don't go to the range much at all, or I never really was allowed to do paintball or airsoft or anything. But I mean, it's still cool. It's just like an experience that you don't get to have. And I think VR definitely, give it a few years and it's gonna be actually mainstream. You know what I mean?
And like it just plays so differently too to just like flat screen gaming. Like the entire feel of it. Like that's why a lot of people who are like super good at flat screen games, they might be good at VR, but they also might not really be that good. Like it just takes like a different kind of skill set to be good at it and
Mhm.
to really enjoy it.
And it's all like different muscle memory too. I mean, I remember, yeah. uh, Crack mentioned Shroud. Like like the thing is, like, if you're coming from CS and you come into Pavlov, you'll have like a decent time because all your game sense is there.
Exactly.
You just have to get the mechanics down. I think that was the thing for me is I'm trying to like get all the mechanics down of, like actually throwing a nade and not just like being able to click and have a pixel perfect nade like you have in CS, or
Yeah.
um actually doing recoil control, like so between those two things, like a lot of, for me, my what I'm working on right now is a lot of like mechanic things between movement and aim and all that. And I think especially if you come from other FPSs, that's what a lot of people work on. But the other thing about Pavlov specifically is you don't get a mini map. You get a scoreboard and a kill feed, but that's about it. So you don't have as much awareness as you would with a mini map. So I think one edge that Pavlov players have over other people that have been playing Pavlov for a while is they have that like extra level of awareness.
Yeah, you have to rely a lot more on communication. Like, I know Tarmac was talking to me about it. Like, when he's IGLing for us, he's sort of, and maybe this is a common thing for IGLs, but I sure as hell can't do it. But he's kind of building a mini map in his head based on all of our callouts and like where he's hearing where people are and where we are, and he's trying to like figure out exactly what the layout is of every single player so he can plan what we do, like when we rotate, what sites we're hitting and things like that. Like, that's something that normally you would just kind of get, I guess, for free. And
Yeah,
now it's a lot harder.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, like, I've had Sumachi try to have me IGL a couple times. I'm just like, bro, no, just let me shoot a rifle or let me do
Pretty much.
this.
It's not an easy job. It's really
No,
not.
yeah. And like IGLs get so much shit because it's just like, oh, you're like underperforming or not. Like, they don't.
Yeah,
Sometimes
they usually are going to be like mid to bottom,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter because that's not what they're there for. And sometimes they'll fucking hella top frag too because they're
Yeah.
just like lurking so well, right? And
Mhm.
just killing all the rotators all the
Yeah.
time.
I mean, like, I've been watching CS probably since like 2015, give or take, and I've watched some of the IGLs, say like Pronax, who is on Fnatic, or like Glaive, who's on Astralis right now, and it's just like it's a hard freaking job, even when you have a coach. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's just crazy. But I think kind of next up is why Pavlov specifically instead of something like Onward or something else.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. So I tried Onward like briefly. That was actually the first shooter I tried. I thought it was really cool, but I only played it for like 30 minutes. I did the tutorial, I did the shooting range. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go fuck some people up. And I went in, and it was, I think, that like a neighborhood map. And I just like, I'm walking around looking for a guy, and I turn a corner and he's on the floor like by my ankles, and I spin around, I rip my headset out of the wall, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done. So I stopped playing that, and I tried Pavlov out, and it was just so much faster. I just jump in and I'm in a death match or something, and I'm running around shooting people. That was fun. Or gun game, and you could just quickly and easily like buy weapons and mess around. It just felt more, I guess, at the start it felt more casual and just more fast paced, and just like when I'm playing VR, I don't want to like mill sim necessarily. Like maybe when I was younger that would have been more for me, but now I want to just get in gunfights, right? And that was just better in Pavlov to me. It was just faster, more adrenaline, all that, and it just made me stay with it. Plus, being like really good right off of the bat at something kind of biases you towards it, because like as soon as I started Pavlov, I was just destroying everybody in all those death matches. So I was like, okay, this is a game for me. I think it is. I'm gonna keep at this and see where it takes me.
I think it's especially that whatever the heck that curve is, where it's just like you think you're really good, and then you just like as you get more experience, you drop off, and then
you run into players who are like, yeah, there's a lot of that. Like you think you're fucking great, and you run into somebody. That happened to me because I was playing. I ran into a few Voltron players. This is kind of how I got into League. I ran into level 3 Mage. He doesn't play anymore, but he was at the time one of the best players in the game. And I just ran into him in a few like S&Ds and death matches, and he was consistently kicking my ass. Right? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to be this guy. I want to be on his team. So like, I think it was like Rex Kwando on Arctic. He was also like playing with me during that time, and he noticed me. And he's like, hey, you should join League, man. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I want to do that. Let's go. So I joined them on a scrim, and I did pretty well. And then Arctic recruited me. And then literally like one day later, I just did a gun game with Pickle and won the gun game. And he's like, you should join Voltron instead. or not Voltron, but this Rex, right? He was making a sister team. So that's what got me onto Rex. So I've only been on 2 teams now,
Right.
but one of them didn't really count, I guess.
Yeah, I feel, especially with like, it's definitely easier for people to get into fast-paced games. Like, I wouldn't have any, like, if I was trying to get somebody into FPSs or whatever, I wouldn't put them on, like, I wouldn't have them try out like Squad or something, you know what I mean? Where it's just
exactly.
that game's like especially intense because it's like 1.5 hour long matches. You see maybe 3 engagements the entire game. Half the time you don't even know where the fuck you're getting shot from.
Yeah, you're just dead. Like, all right, whoops, what did I do?
Yeah, but I mean that's why people gravitate towards more things like Call of Duty or Halo, because it's faster paced, it's smaller maps, quick time to kills, and you know,
it's easier to like iterate on your own skills, I guess, because you're getting immediately punished because you're dying faster. So you're immediately like, oh, this is, I need to get better at aiming, or oh, I shouldn't be there, or you know, all the different things that you can notice to get better.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, I wish Jay Neville he was like YellowHat direct. I'm like, we'll see. One day we'll see. But yeah, no, I mean, like, it's definitely easier to just like vibe and like play COD with the boys or whatever. And I think especially, you know, when it comes to like Pavlov or whatever, it's kind of that same thing, because Pav is like, you could go in, you could do deathmatch on like Nuketown or whatever, and it's super fast paced, and you're just like, oh shit, this is the coolest thing ever. And then you go to like, you can play TDM, or you could play gun game, or now they have like one in the chamber, you know, it's just like all these like fun game modes. And then a lot of people, you know, see the TTT side of things, which, you know, I mean, everybody's got their own opinions about that, but
yeah, a lot of league players like try to give Dave shit for like catering to like TTT audience and all that, but they have to keep in mind that's what makes Pavlov great, really. The comp scene isn't what makes Pavlov great. I know it sucks to hear that as comp players, right? But that's not why Pavlov is the top game. It's the top game because it's just got, you know, the most fun in it, and that includes all of those game modes.
Like, it's definitely hard as a game dev, because you have to try to please everybody. And you know, every time you're doing a balance change, or every time you're adding something in, like, it'll, like, if you add something in that's overpowered, it might be fun for, like, you know, bottom of the barrel people who are just like casually playing the game. They can feel good about themselves, and then, you know, it can be sometimes fun for people that are really good, because then they can just like easily decimate other people, and then at the same time it'll be annoying for other people. So it's like, weapon balance is definitely it's a science that's really hard to actually get right, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, because we're going to talk about the Pavlov update. But it's really hard to get, like, to actually weapon balance and make every single person happy. I mean, you might have the realization that not everybody is going to be happy, and that's fine. But it's about making as many people happy as possible. And not everybody plays Pavlov to play competitively. Some people just want the VR experience of just like hopping in, shooting a gun in VR and feeling good about themselves. Or, you know, some people just want to play TTT and roleplay or dick around because they saw their favorite YouTuber doing it or whatnot. You know, so it's definitely an intricate balance. But it's Crumb. I was you're speaking of your meme again, and I definitely relate with that. It's just like, I think a lot of the comp players is just, you have to learn how to adapt to things. And I, like, especially for me, like with Pavlov, it was learning how to adapt to a lot of the current weapon metas. And, you know, because I always used to bitch and moan, like, I fucking suck with the Revo, I can't hit shit with it, you know. And then it's like,
well, that's your problem, right?
Yeah, like, exactly. Just like, just click heads, forehead. But yeah, and Neville brings up a good point too. Like, Pav is interesting because it's like 10 games in one, and I very much compare it more to like Gmod and CS in VR than just,
it literally is.
Yeah, because it's just everything. You know, there's prop hunt, there's the hidden, like, whatever you want to play. Hell, you could play a freaking Halo map in this. You know what I mean? So, but
some of my favorite maps. Hell yeah,
exactly. I also come from Halo, so I mean, it was some good times. We can definitely talk about that. But let's get to the update. And so I'm gonna switch my thing over here and pull this up. And so we're gonna look at update 25 because that was a thing that just came out this week.
I still haven't played the TTT. I was actually planning to make a TTT tutorial for April Fools, but I was too lazy and I didn't do that. So I'm gonna have to jump in there and play it a little bit.
Yeah, we were messing around with a lot of the stuff on beta or whatever, right? And so like, you know, there's like a Newton launcher, there's a flare gun, there's a golden deagle, there's a riot shield, like there's all this like cool stuff, and it's been giving me like all the video ideas. Like, what if you did like S&D but everybody's got teleporters, or S&D but everybody's got like that would be so cool.
We can do that with custom servers,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, because I think you just spawn it with Archon or whatever, and like, so that might be a thing in the future, so you should all stay tuned for that, because
we need to do a league only TTT match with like only league players, TTT tournament, like whoever gets the most wins or whatever moves on to the next bracket, you know. Only league players allowed.
Just do that this summer or something. You're gonna
I'll host it. Yeah.
Oh my god, you cause so much drama. Nobody's gonna be able to trust each other. They're gonna see somebody like play space like 2 centimeters. Everybody's gonna be like, you're fucking play spacing or some shit like that. But that'd actually be kind of funny to mess around with. So that might be a future video idea. But anyways, let's look at all the TTT stuff. So obviously it talks about like roles and stuff, like detective, innocent, traitor. Most people kind of know what that is. It's basically just a party game of Mafia. But then they also added in One in the Chamber, which I had no idea they were going to do. And if you haven't played that, that's definitely just like a really fun party game mode. Like, you get 1 bullet in your gun. If you miss, you got to use your knife. If you miss your knife, well, you're kind of shit out of luck.
It results in a lot of screaming. For sure,
pretty much. It always provides some good moments. But freaking then we talk about major changes to the weapons, and this is where a lot of things are changing right now. And
this is where you see how so many league players are just terrified of change and just like immediately hate everything that's different. And I feel that way with the new reloads. Is a lot of people were like, this sucks so bad, and then if like a week later they're like, oh, it kind of grew on me now. I like it.
Yeah, like, but I don't even think it's limited to league players. I see, like,
true, not just league players.
Yeah, I think people are just generally afraid of change, no matter what you get into, whether it's like politics or whatnot. And we're not going to go into that, obviously.
Yeah, you're right.
but I mean, people are just like, it takes people a little bit to get used to change, especially if they're so used to it. Like, for example, like the Revo, everybody's so used to being able to 2-hit everyone with the Revo. And we've all been saying like the Revo needs to be a 3-hit at long range, and now that it's a 3-hit at long range, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, like they buy a Revo and they go mid and they're like, why is it so bad now? Well, it's not for that anymore.
Yeah, it's so yeah, but I mean, I think it just takes time to get used to changes, and I think I've seen a lot of people saying they like the changes a little bit more now, or oh hey, like I'm used to it. So we'll go over this. So reloading systems. So there's a lot of different reload stuff that's happened. You have to actually kind of hold your trigger for a little bit longer, and when you're putting in or taking out a mag, and with the like, this definitely nerfs a bunch of weapons. One of them being the shotguns that you have to load each shell in, because you can't just like kind of quickly do it and then be fully loaded with a shotgun again.
Which was, let's be honest, it was always kind of silly, right?
It was
just like vibrate your hand in your ammo holster and just fully reload the shotgun, right? Like it just shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. And then I mean, even though like that's fun with the shotgun, but I mean, it's something that's definitely needed. And then with a lot of the assault rifles, I like the reload change because I think it makes you think a little bit more of when you're actually going to reload. And that's super important, especially in a game where you have infinite ammo.
Yeah, and honestly, like the reload changes, at this point, I don't even notice them. Like, it barely nerfed the speed. And I know it was worse for pistols, and he hotfixed it and made it a little faster. It did feel slow with pistols. Now I think it feels great. But like, it's really, I think more the purpose of the reload system wasn't to necessarily nerf things, though it did, like you said, it nerfed the shotguns, it nerfed the 50 cal in a great way, because you could, both of those had cheesy reloads. But really what it does is it kind of polishes the way it feels. Like and in recordings and things, when you watch a reload, it's just more satisfying, especially with that pump shotgun, the way it like thumbs the shells in.
Mhm.
It looks more AAA and more like what you would see in a flat game, right?
Mhm.
I know I've been looking at like in my YouTube recommended, I keep getting like COD reload videos of people like with real guns doing reloads. And it's just something satisfying about watching this really cool looking reload. We kind of are getting closer to that in VR now, right? Like
Yeah.
the actual action of reloading a gun looks sexy as fuck with the
Mhm.
new system, in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
We're one of those like Alex Workshop or like Schrodinger or whatever, because I keep getting those all the times, like IRL reload number 47 or whatever. They're just reloading like a banana into an AK or some shit. It's crazy. But yeah, no, I mean like, and as someone who's tried to make like a cinematic, like back in February or like late January, I made a World War II cinematic for a map maker for like Brav and Brainslug, because they had made World War II trenches, and that's when World War II push was starting to get really popular, which that's still fun as fuck, by the way.
It's fun as hell, yeah.
Yeah. But I made a trailer for that, and I mean, it pushed my video editing skills like to the max, but also like I remember like I actually, because the reloads had been implemented, I had to actually change the way I was playing a little bit. Like when I had a sniper rifle, I couldn't just like hold it all the way out. I had to like bring it more so up to my face so that you got more of the field of view of what was inside the sniper scope, because cinematically that looks better.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Or like the reloads, like I had to actually slow them down or like, copy like a COD reload animation so that it looked better. Because I mean, realistically, you were able to just pop a mag out and pop it back in. But I mean,
yeah, there was a guy, one of those guys who does the reload videos on YouTube. He did a Pavlov one just recently, and he had an M4, and he did a fake reload where he did the reload and then he like slapped the side of the M4 while he hit the bolt release button, like stuff like that, just to make it look cool, but just fake it,
And there's like small little details, like Alan just mentioned. I love the fact that you can flick the mags to the side with the pistols and the other weapons. Like the fact that there's actually
toss it.
So like if you want to do like an M4 and you want to flick it to the side and then put it back up, the magazine actually goes off to the side. Or like same thing with the pistol, like you just push it off to the side and the magazine actually goes off to the side. And it's just like those little quality of life or like visual things that make the game, like especially for a first time player, they see that and they're like, this shit's fucking legit. Like,
yeah, 100%.
But freaking,
like, I love this push that Dave has been doing towards like AAA quality. Like when you look at the guns in Pavlov and you go play any other VR game, Onward, Contractors, any of them, the guns just, I'm sorry, they're not as pretty as Pavlov guns. They don't feel as good as Pavlov guns. You may have arguments about the recoil. Maybe you hate Pavlov recoil because it's like a floppy fish. People say like Onward, they're like, oh, the recoil is so unrealistic. Sure, that's a valid criticism, but you cannot deny how much effort goes into polishing just the look and feel and the sound of the weapons. No other game even comes close to the way these weapons sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I remember getting like when Medal of Honor was coming out, the friggin' Medal of Honor game. That was a giant flop. Anyway, anyways, I remember getting.
I didn't even try it.
Oh god, it was priced at $60, right? And
that's why I didn't buy it. Yeah.
I was selling my CS skins that I had from like 3 years ago anyways, because I never used them. I'm like, all right, I'll put that money towards Medal of Honor. I'm like 45 minutes played it, I'm like instant refund. It was a Quest quality game for $60, and you could hardly adjust the video settings. It was pretty bad, and I'm glad I got my $60 back, because
I do hear it gets better like the further you get. It's just like the intro experience is pretty terrible, and then like you get to some of those longer missions and it's not quite as bad, but it's still not worth $60.
I think they've updated it since the beginning. Like I played it on like day one because I had friends tell me like, oh, there's like a Medal of Honor VR game, and then I looked and the trailers look good, and then I played the actual thing. I'm like, there's no V-stock, like all the movement is whack, like all the map design is weird.
Oh, Dave's in chat. Hey, Dave.
Ah, Dave's here.
Thanks for making the best VR game.
Yeah,
Dave.
man. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm trying to play Medal of Honor. Like that was definitely like VR's not ready for like $60 games, and that's a hard pill to swallow because of how expensive VR's like PC VR especially is like it in the first place. Like you spend
Yeah, you already have that huge threshold of
like me personally, I've spent almost $2,000 on a computer, and then to spend another 1,000 on an index. Like I get that Half-Life Alyx came free with it, but I couldn't imagine like spending $60 on Half-Life Alyx, and that was like a good single player experience. And I mean, I'm waiting for the day Valve decides to actually do CS and VR or whatnot, but you know, it's
That's where you kind of have to appreciate the Oculus Quest. Like, I
Mhm.
know there's a lot of like PC Master Race people who
Yeah.
are like, fuck those Quest kids or whatever. But it's
Mhm.
honestly great to have a cheap, affordable headset to get people into the scene. And it's also great that we now have Pavlov on that too, right?
Look what it's done with Pop 1. Like
Right. Exactly.
there's been points I think where there's like 20-30,000 people playing Pop 1, and I think there's been points where it might have even hit 6-digit numbers, like, and that's not even an exaggeration either. It's like the Quest has done so much for Pop 1, and because it's so well optimized for that, it works out, and you know, everybody gets their battle royale experience, and it's an easy enough game to get into, and it's done so much. But I was saying, well, about the $60 games, we might be most good games being sub 40-30 tops. Like I got Pat for $5-10, and then but then again, most games aren't worth $60. I mean,
yeah, so you have to give them benefit of the doubt because they are a AAA studio,
Yeah.
so they are incurring way higher cost making that game than Dave did making Pavlov, right? Dave is like for a while he was a sole developer. These guys probably have a team of like at least 10 guys, right? But still, you know,
Yeah.
it's just when you compare it to the other VR games, from what I can't really judge much because I haven't actually played the damn thing. I've only read reviews of it, but yeah, that's why people are kind of turned off about it.
But I mean, the other thing too is a lot of games get money from microtransactions as well, which I mean, like skins when, but
I know, Dave. Come on, man. Our wallets are ready for those skins, dude.
I know, but I mean, yeah, I mean, as long as Mike, he's like, I'll buy Pav 3 times and go give it away before, yeah. But I mean, like, we're around 20. You're around 20 people now.
20 devs. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dave. That's awesome.
It's awesome to see the growth. Like I remember watching like early Pav videos compared to, you know, Pav videos now, and it's just come so far as a game. And like even starting off this year, we had a World War II update, and then we have this update now, which is it's great. Like, and I mean, I haven't been in the scene as long in terms of VR and seeing VR development, but I mean, it's definitely really good progress. But anyways, going back to update stuff as I'm still thinking about it. So, you know, like other quality or like mini things like the stripper clip on the bolt action, like that's dope as shit. Or like,
oh, they also changed bolt actions. It's a thing a lot of people overlooked, but they added a little bit of like when you close the bolt, a lot of times it would get kind of stuck open because you're trying to go really fast. They added a sort of a tolerance for when you almost close it, and if you let go, it just like fully closes it. Makes it feel 100 times better. I only noticed it recently, but it's great.
And then, you know, of course, the AK mag slap, which honestly, I think I've gotten this down to the point where it's just as fast, if not like a hair fast.
I never do it.
Oh my God.
If it's not like when I grab the mag, I fucking know I'm grabbing that mag. But if I'm doing that AK slap, there's a small chance I'm gonna fuck it up. So why take the risk?
It's hard to definitely get it consistent for sure. But I mean, it's
that's basically fan service because I feel like for the past 2 years, everybody's been suggesting that like every week.
And then we get to the big thing, which is damage fall off. And I'm gonna bring up the other chart that we have, which is
Pringles is right. Yeah, we'll sorry, continue. Yeah. We'll get to that.
Audios and gun audio. So absolutely. Audio is so much improved for chat. Like that's amazing. Like it's like I was getting confused the first night because I was thinking like all these people were in my Discord call. Like that's how
I know. It's so good.
Yeah, and profile pictures. Holy shit! Thank you. It's amazing. But anyways, so I'm living up to my name as Mr. Statistic right now, and so they're like they've been thinking like, okay, like damage fall off, like how do we get this to work? And I remember it was implemented before in the game, but it wasn't to the way he wanted, and so he finally got it so that there's a there's a start point and a finish point, and then it just is flat from there. And so what's nice is that the damage is linear, and I'm not sure how many people are like realizing that. So let's say like the Revo, for example, right? Let me scroll over a little bit. It is, sorry. So it's, you can see the Revo. So it does 50 damage and 35 armor damage. Let me scroll this up a little bit. There we go. You can see the categories now. Woo. So the Revo, it's, it was the save round meta for a while, and I mean, I still find myself using the Revo, honestly, on most save rounds, unless we call like a full save. But the thing that makes it still a 3-hit is the fact that its fall off modifier is 0.68, and that's the damage that's calculated the maximum fall off distance, right? So you take 50, multiply that, and you get 34, which is the minimum that you need for a three hit kill. Yes, thank you. And so the thing is, yeah, it loses its 2-hit kill right now at 10 meters, which that's been a mini source of debate. Personally, I like it. I think it forces you to use it close, but we can get into that a little bit. But what people aren't I don't know what people are realizing is, say you're at like 15, 20 meters, it's still doing like upper 40s of damage. Like if you actually graph this out, which I don't know how many people would actually take the time to do that, but if you actually graph this out, it doesn't hit 40 damage until 25 meters. It's basically right in line with the Desert Eagle, right? And so if
you take 2 hits and you're probably going to get killed by a fucking flashbang or something.
A flashbang, right? Or like you're one shot to like a 1911, right? And so there, like, I still find it advantageous, especially since most people use pistols at close range. And I mean, yeah, you can use them at far range, but I mean,
I'm seeing a lot of deagles now, but I am still seeing people use Revos very effectively. It's not like it's been patched out of the meta. I think it's in a healthy place. And like you said, maybe 10 meters could be tweaked,
maybe like 12.5 or 15.
Yeah, whatever. But it's still like it's in a good place. We have a reason to use a deagle now. You didn't really see people using the deagle other than people who were deagle mains because they thought it was cool. Like people weren't really picking the deagle for the most part because they thought it was a better choice than the Revo. Because everybody just wants that. Like being able to kill someone in 2 shots is just fucking good. Like that's 2 peaks and they're dead, right?
But and then it's like if you get tagged at far range by Revo once, why would you?
You can't peek.
Why would you peek again?
Exactly.
There's
at least with a deagle, I have a little bit of playroom where I can take that gunfight before I'm like, okay, someone else rotate over. I need help.
And so I mean, it's like I think it's in a better place now because it's not an $800 scout, right, or an $800 op. Which, by the way, how do you feel about the op change to it being $2,200?
I am using that shit. Like it's in the meta now. I promise you right now. People maybe now that I've said it, people are going to use it more. But the op is meta. Okay, it is a good weapon at 2,200. You can combine it with very good team play, and it like just the ability to do 90 damage with a single hit is phenomenal. That means if your opponent has taken any damage that round, you might as well have a 50 cal that reloads faster. If you threw a nade and you nicked everybody on their team, well, guess what? Now you have a 50 cal that shoots faster, right? Like it's an amazing gun. It's a 220. I would argue maybe you could lower the damage a little and it would still be meta, but you could probably leave it as is and we can see how it plays out. But I'm happy that it's meta right now.
I mean, like, I definitely might. So, like, on a, if say you lose first pistol, right, you get $2,200 and that's a flat line. You might very well see like one person on a team using an op and trying to just like get damage so that their teammate can come in with a 1911 and just one tap.
Stuff like that. Like there's a lot of kind of cool shit you can do with the op now, and it's got a bit of a balance because it has a kill bonus of 0, right? So you're not going to buy it to build your eco, but you can be super clever because if you hit somebody with it, then you can swap to your sidearm, right? And you can get that full kill bonus from it. And then that's like a huge brain play that can go really far.
Yeah. And so I can very well, like if it gets like out of hand, which I don't know how much it's going to be. Like I've been trying to convince Samachi that the op is probably the way. And we were practicing the other day and, you know, I was using it a little bit here and there and just like you peek mid on dig and you get the tag. it's like, okay, you know that the mid player is now 10 HP. You can make a move around that, or like say you get a tag on a guy on site, and it's like he's got 10 HP, and so
you're effectively removing that guy from battle in a lot of ways. Like he's still gonna be there, but he's not gonna fucking peek you.
Or
you can push that.
or you're forcing them to play a head glitch or something. But I mean,
it is a high skill weapon though. You can't just like take an op and fucking kick ass with it, right? Like it is still a single shot weapon.
But what makes it interesting is that you have to lead a little bit less than say with the 50 cal, because its bullet velocity is the best in the game. So I mean that's like that's maybe like a main difference that some people that main the 50 might notice. But even then, it's just you get 10 rounds in a magazine and they each do 90 damage and completely strip armor. So you will be one hit to literally everything.
Yeah. AWP plus pump shotgun. Pretty good. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But I mean, so I could very well see its damage being lowered to say 75, maybe, so that you could still be one hit to like an AK or something, and
but maybe 2 hit to an M4. Yeah.
And that might put it, because I mean that's how
the scout is. Yeah. Right.
I mean, also the fact that you can jump shot with the scout, but that's beside the point. But and you were talking like no red dot. I know that's a vote in the league right now. Like, do we make it so that you can use the AWP red dot? And I mean,
I think it should stay a high skill weapon.
Yeah,
personally.
And you've said to me before that most people that actually main snipers can use the sniper scope like a red dot, and I do agree with that pretty much. I mean,
it's like 95% of a red dot. It's not quite a red dot, because you have to really keep your gun straight for it to be a red dot, and you know, if you have a little drift, it's not going to work. But like it's just one of those things where it should be limited. It shouldn't be too trivial to aim well. It should be something you have to go practice and be really good at to use it as a red dot.
And then the other thing is it blocks a little bit more of your field of view than say using a red dot sight.
Absolutely.
So, We are team no red dot here. You must keep a sniper scope on the AWP. No exceptions. But I mean,
we'll see. I mean, if you did put a red dot on it, you're getting negative 100 kill bonus, and you're spending more. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But my vote is
I think no red dot. I mean, it's a sniper rifle, and I mean, you see a lot of 50 cal players. Sometimes they'll cant their gun to the side anyways. Like if they're trying to do a close range shot and just aim with the barrel. And I mean, I find myself doing that when I use a 50 cal every now and then. But
yeah, that's fine. That's just a skill. That's another skill there to do that. It's not like aiming down the barrel is trivial, right? Up close, you just point it at them, sure, but you can do that without canting the sight as well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean. Team, you must use the scope all the time. Not sorry. And I'm glad that was patched out with the 50 cal too, like that you can only use a scope on it, because you would see so many people just like red dot 50 cal, boom, one hit, one kill, like it was it. But so when talking about like all these other pistols, I think most of them are in a pretty like good spot right now. And even like the SMGs as well. Like I don't find myself complaining like, damn, like damage fall off is really killing me right now.
No, so all of these SMGs, you buy them as an anti-eco. MP5 is good, right? It's the best anti-eco as far as killing them as fast as you can, probably like reliably. It's not as good money-wise. UMP is obviously meta as shit. Shotguns are the pump is good. I think sorry, we're talking about SMGs. The P90 is the only one that I think could maybe have a little bit of a tweak. Like right now, the role of the P90 is a weapon for brand new players who don't understand recoil control at all, because it has no vertical recoil, and they just want to get up close to somebody, hold the trigger down, and get a kill.
Yeah,
that's where the P90 is good. But as far as being in a competitive S&D meta, for the most part, you're just better off buying literally anything else.
We Alan, we haven't gone over the beta guns, but we might do that a little bit actually. So because those are interesting, because I think I have the prices for those as well as of right now, as of what's on the balance sheet. But I mean, personally, I freaking hate the P90, not because it's like a no skill weapon, because I can't freaking use because the iron sights, and say like the iron sights are
kind of weird.
The barrel is like all the way down here. I'm just like, my headshots are like nipple shots. Like,
No, I mean, look at the headshot damage. You don't even want to go for headshots, right? Unless they're naked. Well, I guess you're buying it against naked. But
you gotta, you gotta. So like some of the SMGs, it's like you see like 25 helmet damage. What that means is you have to hit somebody in the head 4 times before their helmet pops off.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's also why the UMP is like such a solid choice. Not only because it's $1,200. I'm gonna switch over to my other chart here. It's not only $1,200, but you get $800. So all you have to do is get 2 kills with it, and you've more than paid off for it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you could nerf that kill bonus down to 600. Like it kind of feels like, at least to me, the UMP is a little bit of an OP weapon. Not like in its role as an anti-eco. It's just so good.
Mhm.
But I guess because it shoots slow, you could argue that's fair. But it's also cheap as fuck, you know? I don't know.
I mean, I love my UMP. You love your UMP. Like,
that is my say anti-eco. 100% is the UMP.
And I mean, the MP5 maybe could get a little bit more of a kill bonus. Like, it's at 400, but I mean, like, that's such it is a pretty good anti-eco weapon as well. But
it shreds the eco. What is the pump's kill bonus?
It is $600.
Okay.
So you have to get 3 kills with it. The interesting about
arguably the pump is the best anti-eco though.
Oh yeah.
In terms of like killing, because
you just you remotely
click on them.
Yeah, you remotely aim for the head, and it's like boom, like because there's 10 pellets flying at the person's face, and one of those has got to hit. I think because of how headshot against no helmet is calculated. Which I mean, I think it might just be like if it hits the head, kill. But Kraka asks, what do you think about second round shotgun meta?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the meta. Like I said, like I'm not going to buy the shotgun. I'm going to buy the UMP. There are people on my team who absolutely buy that pump as an anti-eco. It's important not to only buy anti-eco weapons all the time, right? Because maybe a team will buy armor and try to counter you. But I think anti-eco rounds are healthy right now because you have a lot of options and they're all viable. Shotgun is great. It's more expensive, right? Buying an SMG or buying the UMP specifically would be cheaper, and the MP5 might, depending on your range, be a better choice as well. Because if you're using the shotgun, it does have that fall off. You're kind of relying on RNG to get long range headshots. So if somebody's got a deagle, you know, it might be tough. It just depends where you're playing.
But I mean, yeah, I agree with you that like pretty much like the anti-eco meta right now, I think it's fine. And like the thing is, like it's harder to compare this to say Counter-Strike or Valorant because you only have 9 rounds and a half versus Valorant you have 12 rounds and a half, and Counter-Strike you have 15. So the thing is you have more rounds to play with, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on limiting 5 nades globally, whether single applies them all or 1 per player? So grenades are interesting. Like I would love it if you could just buy 1 grenade per person, maybe 2 flashes or 1 flash, whatever.
So you like to fix the most egregious issues in balance right now for S&D. We don't need to worry about flashes or smokes because we're in a fine place. All we need is a limit to 1 nade purchased per round per person. It's totally fine if they pick up extra nades at the end of the round. All that is fine. The problem right now is when people get ahead on economy and they sit there in their spawn and they buy 5 grenades per person and they push a site and they just nade every single spot that a defender can be. They pre-nade the front of the site for the push. They push in, they nade this corner, they nade that corner, they nade everything multiple times. As a defender, all you can do to counter that is throw nades back. That's literally all you can do. It's just not healthy. So yes, Dave, thank you for being here on this podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that is my number one, like balance. All your balance issue or changes are fucking great for this patch. That would be my number one next thing to change would be that one frag grenade purchase per round per person. That's all you got to do. And then it's solved, in my opinion.
Oh, I didn't later today.
Dave. Look at this.
We're making patches on this.
Fucking Dave, play of the game by Dave Bills.
Let's go, dudes.
Oh my god.
Well, it's because the thing is, like, frag grenades are really powerful, as they should be. Like, I hate using frags in CS because they just like tickle you. That's it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Dave to like nerf the shit out of frags. They feel really good right now.
Damage-wise, they're fine. Like, and if you sink a nade and it lands at a person's feet, like, it's gonna blow them. It's gonna blow them up. But yeah, like if so, like you can literally buy however many frags, and so you can have just 3 frags on your chest, 1 in your hand. You bring 1 with you, just drop it, frag.
And if you have enough, you can do that, and then you can run back to spawn and pick up the 10 more nades you bought if you're that far ahead. But honestly, if you're that far ahead, you've already won the game. But still, like
yeah, like the carry limit's fine. So like, say like you have 2 flashes, a frag, and then like you know, say like a smoke on your chest, like that's fine. Or like if you want to keep it to the 3 nades that you can have on your chest, and you have to pick like frag, flash, smoke, or 2 flashes into smoke, or whatever you want to do with that. But
yeah, and like honestly, in my opinion, you could add those limits to smokes and flashes, but I don't think the game needs it. Like
I don't think
having 5 flashes, like on CT side, you can delay, sure, but that's all you're doing is delaying, and eventually they're going to push through.
Yeah.
And on T side, you're not going to want to throw 5. You're just blinding yourself, right?
Yeah.
It does get kind of annoying to be blinded that much. So like after frag limit, like sure, maybe we could add like a 2 flash limit.
Yeah.
But like, but for smokes, right? Like I feel like there shouldn't be a smoke limit because it opens up your possibilities for fakes when you can use a lot of smokes. Like I can carpet bomb a site with smokes to make it look like I'm doing a push, and then I can throw a flash, and then I can rotate to the other side. I think that's kind of cool. I don't like, in my mind, that's not a cancerous meta in the way frags are right now.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, performance stuff obviously too, but like
true, perf is kind of
yeah. But I mean, what's it called? I mean, the thing I'd like to see maybe is like if the smokes got the same treatment as the frag grenades, where you can't pull the pin pre-rounds, because I think you can still do that. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah, but it doesn't really affect anything.
Yeah.
The only reason he changed it for the nade is to help prevent people from doing that thing in like massive servers where you pull the pin and cook it 3 seconds before the round starts and blow up the entire team.
Yeah,
it's just like an anti-troll thing. It's not really a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You can still just toss 1 nade up and pull the pin at the start of the round. That doesn't change you being able to buy 5.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the pistols are definitely like in a good place right now, I think. And I think the thing is like people have to get used to the revolver and like it not being a 2-hit, and you're just like, dude, come on. But you're a golden rod, actually, or golden god. Golden
rod. Leave it to YellowHat to go there.
I'm thinking Pokemon because Goldenrod City, but okay. Anyway, so but I seriously think like all the pistols are in good place. Like the 1911, it's got its 4-hit kill to like 22 meters or something like that. Whatever the heck it's at right now. Yeah, we can scroll through. Yeah, 22 meters. Same thing with the Tech 9. It's still a mid-range pistol. The Deagle and the Revo basically like once they hit 25 meters in the same spot. The Glock, it starts its fall off at 12.5, meaning that it's going to be a 6-hit. So that means
I've been feeling that
because you have to hit all like 2 bursts directly to the body or go for the headshot, which I mean, like, Kamoli's going to hate me for this. There's a small part of me that wants a Glock burst delay. But
there's 2 ways to balance it.
Yeah.
There's the Glock burst delay, and that would balance it.
Yeah.
Yes, and price increase. And
price increase.
I'm in camp. I know you're in camp burst delay. I'm in camp price increase because I love the feel of a full auto Glock. It just feels really fun to use, you know.
And I'm sure a lot of like, especially like more casual players too, they like the fact that like, oh, I can full auto a Glock and it's not just another
cool.
Yeah,
like it used to have the burst delay, and not a lot of people used it. It just wasn't as flashy, you know.
But I do feel that a price increase would make it so that you have to think more of, do I want to go 1911 armor flash, or do I want to go Glock flash and then that's it, or do I want to go
or 5.7 2 flash? That's the thing. And or smokes, because if you buy a Glock at 700, no smokes. And I do buy smokes pistol round. They're very important for pistol round to have one guy with a smoke for certain angles.
Yeah.
In those situations, I would probably either go 1911 or I would buy a 5.7. I probably wouldn't buy a 5.7 now because the kill bonus. Just that one thing to me just turns me off to it. But if it had the 600 kill bonus, I would totally buy it.
Speaking of, like, make that like $400, $500. Like, I want to see
just make it just unify it. Just make it 600 like all the pistols.
I'd love to see the 5.7 be like a save round pistol where it's actually like, because it is good against armor.
Yeah. It's good against armor. It takes 5 shots, so it's not a deagle, right? But for $500 as like a single fire M4, I'd love to see it in the meta as an anti or as a save round weapon.
Plus, cool. It's the second row up here. Look at that. You get 100 helmet damage and 75% helmet pen. So that
You think
means
you could talk without me for 1 minute? I'll be
yeah,
right back.
that's fine. So you get 100 helmet damage and you get 75% helmet pen. So that means if you shoot somebody in the head at full range or at full health, they're at 25 health. So you could just do 1 in the head and then 2 in the body and they're dead. You know what I mean? So I would love to, because the 5.7 admittedly is the only pistol that's at a $300 kill reward, and it's like, it's a 5.7. Why? Like, so I would love to see the 5.7 just like up its kill bonus just a little bit. But I mean, the thing too that I think everybody's got to realize is that all these values like on the balance table, they're now on GitHub. So it's very easy for the devs to just go in and change the values if something is egregiously like wrong. Like for example, I caught the fact the other day that the sawed-off wasn't buffed. It was at 20 and it should have been at 40 because of, the buff or whatnot. And so I caught that and I was like, oh, hey, I don't think you buffed the sawed-off. And turns out they didn't. So the sawed-off was buffed to where it should be. And the other thing too is if, the competitive players or the casual players, if they find that, oh, hey, like, maybe these multipliers, like maybe you should do a little bit more damage, you can always bring that up, and that could be like a change that gets under consideration. You know what I mean? So yeah. So the fastest, but it doesn't work in practice. It could be. I'm just kind of looking at chat for the moment until Chill gets back. Pringles, I like your idea of a Molotov cocktail. That'd be great, especially because we have fire damage now. Like, there's the flare gun. You could cause fire damage. You could do fire damage with a torch. So Molotov cocktail, that would be an interesting thing too. I mean, yeah, you'd probably have to make like 2 grenades. You'd probably have to make a Molotov for the T's and then like a incendiary grenade for the CTs and make it pretty expensive, because then you have to figure out, fire spread and fire spread damage and how do you price that, right? So, as Chill is just like casually just like skipping back in. we're talking about fire damage and Molotov cocktails right now, because I just got over my lecture of why the 5.7 should have a higher kill bonus and how you can 1-tap or 2-tap a person in the head. But yeah, but also yeah, it would slow a push too, and it would like having like a Molotov or something, like, and again, if you limit that to 1 per person, you could easily just like limit a push or something.
Did this stem from the flare gun, I guess? You thinking about that?
Yeah, and also I'm just looking through chat and Pringles is like Molotov cocktail. I'm like, could be an idea. That would be sweet.
Yeah, I never played CS, so I've never really. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I played it for like a little bit, but I've never really used it. It's kind of interesting.
You can Molotovs are very interesting in the fact that you can use them to deny a defuse, because you could just have a throw for a Molotov and it lands right on the bomb. And you saw that a lot in Valorant too with Brimstone, the person who has a Molotov and he has a Molotov gun. And so people would come up with these like ridiculous Molotov lineups that were like cross map. You just like line up the crosshair and shoot it. And because I was a Brimstone main when I played Valorant, and it was so cool just like getting those, and people were like, oh my god, 500 IQ, this dude's crack, like, so
in Valorant, is it also like in CS where like if you throw a smoke it cancels out a Molotov? Is that a thing?
I don't believe so, but I do like that. I mean, I do like that idea because that's how it is in CS, where you have to use that utility of a smoke if you want to cancel out a Molotov, or you could toy around with it. But I mean, it's something that would definitely have to be toyed around with, and you'd have to really think about every single little balance thing, like how do you price it, how long have it last for, yada yada.
It's also like a more technical challenge in VR specifically, just for the same reason that smokes are, is that it's more expensive to render, right? And
absolutely.
Fire is like, as a rule, kind of hard to do in dev.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think a lot of the guns are in a pretty good spot right now, and so
yeah, that feels awesome.
I gotta pull up let me pull up the Pavlov.
Even the AK-12. So I know I'd complained a couple times. I thought So I originally thought 2300 was going to be good. Later, I thought maybe it's not good enough. I don't know, but it does, I think, have a place in the meta right now at 2300. Like, people give the AK-12 so much shit because its DPS is worse than the M4, but like for a kind of a mid-range weapon that's like a cheaper M4, it's really not that bad, and I think it has a place as a light buy alternative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll get used much because of the stigma, but I don't think it's necessarily unbalanced.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to. There we go. I copied the wrong link. I'm gonna pull up the GitHub that they have right now. So let me see if this actually works. Boom. Okay, great. Awesome. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to scroll it over much, but we're gonna look at the important stuff because I would kind of want to talk about the new weapons for a little bit. Like, so.
Right. Good call.
Yeah. So there's been a bunch of new weapons like SMGs, assault rifles, stuff that have been added, and I think they're gonna play out very interesting. So we're gonna scroll down a little bit. The first one that we see, and I'm sorry if it's kind of hard to see at just last minute, but we see the Cross, which is the new Vector, and so it's priced at $2,000 currently, and it's got a kill bonus of $400. But it has MP5 damage stats, and it has the P90 rate of fire. So it's like a hybrid P90 MP5. It's very powerful.
I feel like it's just a better, like, I've used it in like the custom maps, and I don't know how much of the balance of these new weapons is set in stone or like prepared. It feels really strong because of how fast it shoots. And like the recoil is also really tight. You can get like 9 shots in a really tight grouping once you practice with it a little bit.
It's definitely going to be a very powerful anti-eco weapon, if anything. You know,
and it's got a 400 kill bonus, right? It feels like it's just like it gives you even less of a reason to buy a P90.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still definitely it's still definitely pretty solid. And then we get to the AR9, which is an M4 platform 9mm. It's priced the same and damage is the same as a UMP, so it's $1,200, $800 kill bonus. Again, a lot of this we have to realize that it could be placeholder stuff right now. And
I get the feeling it is,
because I think the thing too is a lot of this can be changed around really easy. I was mentioning that too, but what's it called? With the GitHub now, they can just change a value like that without having to do like a full on update. But the AR9 is, like I said, it's an M4 platform 9mm, and it does the same damage as the UMP, and I think it might be a competitor to the UMP, like, because I know their plan is to do faction weapons, which that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think the AR9 will definitely be like, if it stays this, or even if it's a little bit more, I think this would be anti-eco meta and potentially save round meta.
So and then maybe you have like Cross and FAMAS and Chris Vector. Those would be like maybe opposing SMGs as well.
They very well could be. I mean, I'm not sure what the plan is. But again, I don't know what weapons these are going to balance against each other. But I mean, still, I mean, that's yeah. So next one is the Galil. I think this is a placeholder because I don't see this staying at $2,700. Because I don't see it being like the main T rifle. I see the main T, like if it's gonna transition to whatever, I could see the main T rifle being the AK. No way.
And yeah, Dave just said in chat that with faction guns, we can tweak guns to be CT or T-sided.
Awesome. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing.
So like deliberately like have one variant be better than the other because only the T's get that, and then the CTs, when they kill those guys, they might try to pick those up.
Because I mean that's standard CS:GO meta right now. Is if you kill a T, you pick up his AK because it shoots the same speed as the M4, does better damage, and has that one hit or the one tap potential.
Yeah. So you essentially are balancing with the weapons to be usable on both sides, but one can still be stronger. It's interesting.
But the Galil, as of right now, I could see it being more balanced towards the AK-12 because they have the same rate of fire, almost the same damage. I know the AK-12 was buffed to 22, which, that I think if anything, that just makes it so that's a 6-hit kill to the leg instead of a 7-hit. It's right.
That gun also has, I think, one of my favorite audio, like the sound of shooting that gun. It's just so punchy.
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, I would love to see the AK-12 used more, and I think the thing that needs to happen is that its recoil needs to actually peak instead of just being like straight up. Because
just maybe a small recoil tweak is all it would need.
But I mean, I would love to see that as like a light buy assault rifle, or like a, you know, like a force buy. Like say you have $3,300, like you buy that in an AK-12 or something. I mean,
so he could take the, I guess the Galil could be balanced against an M4 if it like hit harder, because we were looking at potential balance for the AK-12 back when it was like 2,700, and like one thing we came up with is make the AK-12 a 4-shot kill to the body, which is really good TTK, right? Like that's strong, it's competitive with the M4, but then keep it as a 2-shot to the helmet, so it's not quite an AK-47 for the one-tap potential, and then you make it like you just price it DPS wise. So it was like slightly higher DPS than M4, so you make it slightly more expensive than M4, and then it's competitive against an M4. You could probably do that with the Galil, make it a 4-shot kill body, 2-shot kill head, and it would be competitive with the M4.
So, yeah, I mean, because right now it's the same exact TTK as the AK-12. So I mean, it could have its fire rate up, and I think that's the thing too, is like you could play around with the fire rates as well. I mean, I've been saying that with the FAMAS a little bit, like you can make it so that maybe it shoots like 20 rounds slower. Like, oh hey, if you wanted, like if it was M4 CT, AK-47 T side, and like some people were afraid of being stuck with an AK on T side, like you could make it so that it shoots 20 rounds faster. So TTK is just a little bit better, right? Like there's all these like numbers that you can actually play with, which is really cool. And again, the fact that it's on this GitHub table now,
that's something we kind of breezed over. That's a big part of this update, I think.
Is that these could just be tweaked like that. You don't have to push like a giant update.
Yeah, the servers will just download the latest, and there's no need for a Steam patch for anybody. It's awesome.
So then we get to the M16, which is exactly balanced with the AUG. Same thing, I think, fire rate wise, although the AUG has a 35+1 round mag instead of just a 30 round mag. But I mean, having like a CT and a T 3-round burst weapon, I mean, especially because I would like, if I was like on a crunch or whatever for money and I was playing like Oil Rig and I was holding A long, I would love to have an AUG just on that.
Yeah, as long as you're jiggle bursting, it might as well be an M4, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm excited to see how the AUG and the M16 play out as kind of like these cheaper buy 3-round burst weapons, especially for newer people who might not have like the full recoil control down. It might be easier for them to buy these weapons and use them and do good with them. But
and like the Galil, I also fucking love the sound of the M16.
Yeah,
I don't know how much you guys feel that, but I feel like they're getting better at their sound design. Like even better at their sound design over time. It's just fucking fantastic.
Absolutely. And then we get to like the unique child, the VSS or the AS Val.
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this one, honestly.
So it's like currently it's like MP5 damage. It's got a 20-round mag, but it has, you have a built-in suppressor with it, and you got pretty good iron sights. I mean, it spawns standard with a sniper scope because it's like a weird hybrid SMG sniper rifle in real life. But freaking, I mean, it could be interesting, you know what I mean? And I mean, even just like if it doesn't wind up being like competitive meta, and if it just becomes like a more casual thing, like it's still a cool weapon to use.
It is still a cool weapon, exactly. I love the bullets. You look at the bullets, they're like black tips.
Yeah, because they're like subsonic or subsonic.
Exactly.
I remember using it when Tarkov first came out because like nobody had armor or anything, and that thing just shredded. Like,
dude, I wonder if when the bullet whizzes by, if there's no crack because it's subsonic in Pavlov.
It could be
kind of interesting.
It could be, because I mean, I wonder, are suppressors the same way? I think maybe. Like if you put a suppressor,
I don't know. I think you still get the crack with the suppressor. It's just the audio of firing it. But I don't know. We should test that.
Black tips are armor piercing. Like, it depends. I mean, I don't know the VSS like in real life, besides the fact that again, it's like meant to be like a short range hybrid SMG sniper rifle that shoots subsonic ammo. So, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool weapon. The Russians are always coming up with interesting stuff.
God, this table is so huge. That's another great thing about Pavlov, right? There's just so many.
Well, they put all the World War II weapons on here as well, so like we get to hear.
I count those. As
absolutely. So then, I mean, we have what else do we have? We have the Scar, which will be an interesting, because when the Scar first came out, I mean, everybody was like, this thing is a literal
OP,
actually OP. This thing has like zero like literally no recoil. Just pop a red dot, just easy 3 tabs. Like I remember just going into like a deathmatch lobby that had it, and I just went like 110 or some ridiculous like something that like I might be okay at the game, but I should not be doing that well. And you just aim it at their head and just tab, and I'm glad that it's got a recoil nerf. And it also, the Scar is like really good sound design, looks fantastic. Like
so clearly it is just going to be a counterpart, right, to the auto sniper. They're going to be balanced about the same. But it feels to me just better than the auto sniper, just because it just looks cooler. It sounds cooler to me. I don't know. It's just a cooler.
Absolutely. It was. I'm glad that they actually added a Scar in. Like that's definitely really good. World War II weapons, they actually they have prices to them, and the RPG has a price to it too.
World War II S&D?
World War II S&D would be fun. I think I was thinking about like coming up with potential like fall-off numbers for these, and like talking with the World War II map developers to see what would be appropriate for each of these. Personally, I didn't even know the PVSH only did 17. I thought it did 20, but then again, it's different because there's like an actual heads-up display with it when you play with it in World modes. But even then, like
I feel like with the World War II modes, like adding Falloff, like we don't really need to balance these guns for CQB because the ranges are so enormous that it just like every gun needs to be effective at long range. Or why are you not using an LMG, right?
But also I feel like all those guns were also balanced for playing against unarmored opponents, because all the like the built-in World War II modes, you have a helmet and no armor.
True.
So but it's also like you play on like you play on trenches or whatever, and you just get 5 tapped by an MP40 from across the map, and you're trying to use like a bolt action. You're just like, why is it doing
the bolt actions kind of get the shit into the stick, I would say. For sure.
But I mean, it'll be interesting, like with all those numbers as well. And then I think this is all. Oh no, this is all the attachments, and then they have all the TTT stuff in here, like the knife, the health station, the detective SMG, the silence Tech 9, like all the fun stuff. But I mean, you can go look. I think they put a link somewhere for this GitHub table, and you can go look at it, and you can look at all the numbers, or you can go to my charts, which I usually link in every single one of my videos, and they're basically just the same thing. So depends on whether you want bright colors that might hurt your eyes or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think at a cost of 0, the golden gun is a little OP for 200 damage, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
All right. Let me catch up with follows real quick. So let's see, because I have not done that all stream, and I feel really bad. So we got you, Logic, Pykel, thank you for the follow. Aggies, thank you for the follow. Venyan, Alan, I'm at 60 followers now, and we started at 49. So
Congrats.
Heck yeah. And I want this to be mutually beneficial, so I'm gonna go ahead and point to these links. You should absolutely subscribe to Chillst3p on YouTube. You can find his YouTube right there, and you should go follow him on Twitch, because he occasionally streams, and it's always good content. You can find my YouTube right under my beautiful face, and you can find my Twitter as well, which I've been kind of reviving a little bit more and posting more of either highlights or videos. Joey says you need more shirtless chill.
Everybody always bringing up the shirtless. It gets hot in this room sometimes. Okay.
That's how I feel when it's like May, because I don't have like a built-in AC, so we have like the window units, right? And so
Jesus.
Pretty like, you know, it'll get to be like 70-80 degrees, which, you know, for New Jersey, that's like kind of hot, even though it'll get to like 90 or 100 in the summer. And it's just like it's just like
it gets hot, especially in VR with this thing on your head.
Oh my god, yeah. Like I always have my overhead fan just like cranked to the max, especially like if it's like remotely hot. But Alan says we need more YellowHat variety. Define YellowHat variety. I mean,
what does that even mean?
I have a yellow hat. I I could get more.
More types of hats.
A yellow cowboy hat.
Yellow, you
I
shot.
will tell you, from my short time playing Overwatch, I did buy the full yellow suit McCree skin with the yellow hat, because I mean I would not have it any other way anytime I play McCree. So I mean, I got that for you. Let's see. Shirtless chill increases viewers. It's an exponential relationship. It sure is. All right, so I think before we get to the next topic, I'll kind of let chat ask some questions, and what do you guys think about like weapon balance? How do you feel about like the new Revo? For those of you that play Pav, for those of you that don't play Pav, what are some like VR stuff that you want to talk about? I think we could spend a little time with that, because I have a couple more topics that we can, make Revo 15. So making the Revo 10 to 15 meters, that's something that definitely has to be played around with. Currently, I mean, yeah, it is a short range pistol, but I mean, I'm thinking 10 to 12.5 max. That's my personal feeling. I know that many people are kind of scattered with this right now, and I think we need to just play with it more to see.
Yeah, I do think I see way more Deagles than Revos, and I think that's okay, because map engagements a lot of times are long. I would like to see a few more Revos, I guess. So like bumping it a little bit wouldn't be terrible in my opinion. There's still a lot of angles in these S&D maps that are beyond 12.5, right? Mm-hmm. So there's still a lot of reasons to buy a Deagle over a Revo. Yeah. And like you said, the Falloff you're still hitting for really hard. Yeah. But usually in the instances that you are buying a Revo, it's when you're not going to have another player on your team with not a Revo, maybe a 1911. So maybe this will evolve a meta of having people walking in pairs, right? One guy with a 1911 and one with a Revo. I don't know. But
admittedly, too, if somebody's able to get like 5 meters from you with a Revo, like probably shouldn't have let that happen. So
yeah.
So I mean, like the Revo forces you to like really think about your positioning, or try to like allow yourself to get close to the enemy so that you can get that 2-hit, or play positions like, say you're playing like side room on dig or whatever on A site, you can play with the Revo there and still do really good with it, because it's still a 2-hit kill. So
yeah, and remember, you can still spam it like full auto up close and instantly kill a guy with full armor and a rifle. Like the Revo is still an amazing weapon.
Yeah,
and it is meta even at 10 meters.
Yeah, absolutely. Kraka has a question for you. He's like, how annoying is it to play with me on a scale of 1 to 10 when he's doing knives only?
Oh, when Kraka is doing knives only? I just kind of giggle every time I die to a knife, unless it's like, sometimes I'll get a little tilted by knives, I guess, because it just like bounces around a corner and slams into me. I'm like, wow, cool. What could I have done differently? Nothing. I just died. Whatever.
Dude just got a good throw. Pringles is mentioning better Steam controllers in 2021. And I think that kind of
I hope. Is that a rumor or something? I don't know. Please.
Or
God.
he's asking for that. Yeah. So hey, what's up, Tobias? Yeah. So I mean, I think it kind of ties into like other things that VR needs to do. Like in terms of like, I think if the technology just gets a little bit better, the price just decreases a little bit. And then, are you talking more like index controllers? Or just
he said Steam controller, so I think he meant index. He's just complaining about joysticks. Like,
I agree with that. I mean, even with the new sprint changes, which, oh my god, we haven't even got to the sprint change.
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
My controller has been lasting for 400 hours, so I'm happy with that. I must have just gotten Gaben's controller himself.
Yeah, what the hell? You're not wiggling enough, dude. You gotta smash that joystick a little more.
It's starting to get a little bit of drift, I think, but still. If Quest Pav gets a real tournament and prizes before PC Pav, will you switch? I mean, I've been thinking about like trying to pick up Pop 1, because they're starting to do tournaments, and then I think this might be a conversation for a future podcast, because we still have other ones.
We got a lot of stuff we can talk about.
But Vale says they want to do, the devs at Vale say they want to do a lot of tournaments too, right? So I mean, I think a lot of reasonably so, a lot of people are going to go where the money's going to go, especially if they want to do VR esports as a full-time career. They're going to go wherever the money goes. So I mean,
you're going to see all of the Pavlov teams, like they're going to love Pavlov forever. They're going to continue to play Pavlov, I think, but they're going to always be branching out and trying to, no one's going to want to fall behind. The people who are really taking VR esports seriously want to be where that is, and they're going to meet, like, I know Wrecked, we're going to be making a team for multiple games. We have this one. If Pop1 adds a comp scene, we'll probably make a team for that. We're not doing Onward. We're not doing Contractors, but maybe we'll do Veil. We just feel like we're too far behind on Contractors and Onward because it's too well established.
And it's hard because you have to like get into those communities, and Pop1 was a fresh community, and like somebody like Samachi, he was able to just get into that community, be a really good person, and climb his way pretty high up and do his things. I mean,
utilize that the VTuber magic there.
Pretty much,
yeah.
So just kind of looking at other changes, lasers and flashlights. That's dope as shit. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Custom items, and then this is just all the patch notes. You can just look up update 25 for patch stuff, and you can see that there. But the other big thing that has changed is sprinting, and that's because you can no longer get the speed boost when you're moving your joystick left or right or backwards. It's only like a 90-degree cone going forward, which I love that, because like backwards sprinting is definitely kind of whack. And same thing with
what FPS game lets you do that? It just isn't a thing.
Decreasing, so sprint delay I think is at like what, 0.2 seconds right now.
Yeah,
I've been playing with it, and I think it's in a good spot right now. I think it needs to be played with a little bit more, but I don't feel too bad by it. I mean, that's
like, I certainly would not complain if it was a little snappier, because like right now you get caught out, you're like, oh, I need to run back to cover, and you've got the hit slow, and you've got the sprint delay, and you've got ping and all that. You're just gonna fucking die.
Dave was asking about the
jerking off. He wants us to say jerking off. Okay,
there you go, you got it. But yeah, so I'm glad also that like sprint thingy was patched.
It's changed the way a lot of people play. I know it's affected how I play a lot, because I was using that side sprint shit religiously all the time. Like
not like the hold down like exploity shit, just like the tapping.
No, not the threshold bullshit.
Yeah,
obviously, fuck that. But I was tapping my sprint button to sprint back inside. I've been doing it since I had like 100 hours, because I'm like, when I want to go fast, I just mash sprint. I'm still mashing sprint, and I don't even have it bound anymore. It's just like a fucking habit right
Ladies
now.
and gentlemen, he's secretly Sonic, by the way.
Yeah.
But but I mean, I like the sprint changes definitely. I think it's a good spot. I think it makes you think a little bit more about positioning and peaking in the first place. So I'm very happy with that, and I think it'll make this season more interesting. But speaking of this season, Crack asks, how would Chill feel about a LAN event?
I would love a LAN event, dude. Like, the lower my ping, I feel like the better I play. I feel like with 0 ping, it would be amazing, and I want that. With 0 ping, you can like hold an angle, and you can not worry about the guy peeking you with ping and having peeker's advantage that much. You can just tap him as long as you have those reflexes. It's kind of cool.
I mean, it would definitely be hard to kind of pull off right now because of everything going on. But I mean, especially as somebody who's just gotten into the scene, and this is going to be my first season playing, which it feels like I've already played a season because of like I've already put 500 hours in since I've joined, right? But like, I mean, I would love a LAN. I think a lot of people would love a LAN. It's definitely, VR LANs are definitely going to be interesting to plan, because you kind of have to put everybody on the same playing field, which really shows like who's actually the best, like given the same playing field or the same advantages and disadvantages, right? Like, also,
are they going to let you bring your own hardware? Like, how does that work? Like, I want hybrid controller setup. Are they going to let me do that? Because that would kind of fucking screw me if not.
or like play space sizes. Like, would you have to limit somebody to a play space size? Would you give everybody?
That they do. So if you look at the Onward tournament, they have a set play space for everyone to use, and you can just use that however you want.
Yeah, and so and the thing I think right now is there's a lot of version exclusives. Like, there's the Index, and there's the Oculus, and there's like HTC Vive, and like people play on all these different headsets, and it's like, how do you like?
Yeah, Krakus says Onward is Rift only. I'd be so sad if I had to switch headsets to play LAN, dude.
Crummer's like, how would you use your cheats?
Ha 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 ha! Chill cheats. Yeah. Good joke. Always funny.
half the appeal of a LAN to me would be identical hardware in space. Absolutely, yeah. And I think especially the whole like everybody has the same play space size, because some people play in very tight play spaces and some people play in very large play spaces. And
so the problem with identical hardware is you have like transitioning from one headset to another is not just plug and play. Like there's plenty of people, like Sai had to switch from Oculus to Index. It took him weeks to get to where he was. And
Mhm.
even then, he still feels like he was better on Oculus than he is on Index. Like,
Right.
if you just take somebody who's been playing Index or whatever for 3,000 hours and you throw them in and they're like, here's an Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Like, they're
exactly.
just not going to play as well. They're
Mhm.
going to be
Yeah.
fumbling with their controls and all
Yeah,
that.
because you have the controls, you have refresh rate too. Like I know you played 144, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
bro,
played 144.
I'm like,
Yeah.
like, what kind of big dick setup do you have that you could do that?
It's about honestly, I get a lot of frame drops, so like maybe I'd be better off dropping it, but I just want the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
possible. I don't know.
Mhm. I know. I feel that I would love to play at 144. I mean, I sit myself right at 90, and I might try to go to 120. But like, I think on the massive servers right now, like I've been getting frame drops like crazy. I mean, in 10 on or in 5-on-5s, it's been fine. But I know also a plan is to they're switching up the player models so that the CTs are blue and then the Ts are and they're also
Yeah,
like
so
more
it's
optimized.
optimizing a little. So
Mhm.
it's gonna reduce draw calls by like if you think of like VR massive server, you'll probably drop like 40 draw calls or something, which it's gonna at that point it's more on the map itself.
Mhm.
Usually, like a lot of the maps just aren't optimized well
Yeah.
because they have all those draw calls.
Mhm.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I doubt I know it'll be a good optimization, but I doubt it's going to be the saving grace for
Mhm.
multiplayer servers. But I could be wrong. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I mean, and I think also it's going to prevent a lot of accidental friendly fire because the CTs are going to be blue and then the Ts are going to be tan. So if you're a tan guy, you shoot the blue guy. If you're a blue
Yeah,
guy, shoot the tan guy. Don't shoot the other blue guys.
yeah. I played a little bit of Onward recently. I've been getting a little bit more into it, and they have
Mhm.
that. It's basically what the new Pavlov models are. It's like
Mhm.
one is black and one is tan, and it's so like in Onward you don't even get name tags over friendlies, so you really got to be thinking about what the colors are, and it's easy
Yeah.
because it's very obvious
Mhm.
silhouettes.
Yeah. And I mean, like, especially like for new players, they have to realize, like, oh shit, you can actually friendly fire. And I mean, admittedly, it's not as bad as what it was, when you could just team kill everybody with a knife back,
Yeah.
like, say a year ago. Which
What a great change,
I
man!
wasn't
We've come a long way.
I wasn't even there for that. Like, I didn't start playing Pavlov till August of 2020. So
It's so funny.
new players are like, wait, I can actually shoot myself, like, or the famous words, do you want to play Russian roulette? That's that might be a meme in my Revo guide, by the way, whenever that comes out.
Hell yeah.
um but yeah, it's like that was definitely a much needed change for sure. But I mean, I think especially with the new player models, like I think it'll be good, especially like if they're well lit too, so you can't just like cheese and hide in a corner. But that also goes on the map maker, making their map really like bright or like not have any like crazy low visibility spots. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I know we Vortex just played in the Arctic event yesterday, and we played on Museum, and Maverick changed the he changed like squeaky or like storage room on A site,
Yep.
and it's like brighter now. It used to be like super dark and you could just like cheese and hide in a corner, but
Yeah, I fixed that shit.
yeah.
Same thing with Luxor. Luxor had a lot of problems with lighting.
Mhm.
I think a big problem too was just specifically in Luxor's case, if you're in a dark area, flashes don't work because
Yeah.
the way the shader works, it's not like an opaque thing. It's a
Mhm.
transparent after effect. So if you're in a really dark area, you can just it just gives you better vision almost
Yeah,
because you can
and
just see
and, like
better. Yeah.
you can see what he's talking about if you hop on like Kenneth's test map or whatever, and you flash yourself. It's just like a circle, and like because because the skybox is just pure black, and there's not really that much light. You'll still see perfectly fine. But I mean, we had also we did a beta scrim against formerly Arctic, now DEF CON. DEF CON. I fucking love that team name. By the way. It's so
Yeah.
great. But we played on the beta, and then like they threw in like a temporary flash effect, and it was like you were full blind, right? And then it was like the James Bond gun barrel, and it just came from the center, and you got your vision back. And like
Yeah. So how did that work with two eyes? Was it like
it was just one circle. I
okay?
yeah. I think one of us has films of it, or like one of us has a stream of what it actually looked like, and we were all just like, "What the
Yeah, I
frick
mean,
is this?"
yeah, it's just like I feel like it'd be weird with because
Yeah.
each eye has to display that separately. So aren't you gonna
Mhm.
get like a
A
I don't know
weird thing. Yeah,
a
no,
weird I don't know.
it wasn't finalized because I'd asked about it, and the flashes are still
Yeah,
the same. So I'm like, all right, good. I
yeah,
like it's already weird enough to me coming from Counter Strike that you or Valorant that you can't look away from a flash. But
yeah.
But kind of on topic of like, season, all that, what are like, I think the voting just ended officially for the map comp yesterday, and I think the votes are actually going to start happening in apt and stuff. So what are kind
Yeah,
of
we
like,
actually already voted.
oh, well, yeah, we can't say anything, but
But
but I mean, what are kind of your hopes for season 8? Like yourself, your team, the game, maps, like,
just in general, I want
yeah.
to win the championship.
Oh yeah.
That's all. That's I want to. It's our turn,
Yeah.
okay? And we're gonna win.
I love to hear it. Yeah. We definitely have the same goal. Like our goal of Vortex is just like kind of keep improving as much as we can. And admittedly, I'm not gonna like toot my own horn or anything here. But I kind of think we have the best rendition of Vortex we've had so far. I mean, and
100%. Oh
and
yeah.
I'm very much new to the team, but at the same time, like I think there's gonna be, and especially with all these changes and stuff, I think you're gonna see a lot of teams. There's been a lot of roster changes happening. I think you're gonna see some teams really start to just like shine. Like,
So
really,
Vortex is way better, right? You and Lurf, I think, are both starters, and you're both brand new players, so it's going to be great for the team. Plus, obviously, like every team's working harder and getting better and practicing, and
yeah,
then I'm sure that includes Vortex. Voltron is going to be a
yeah,
lot better this season, in my opinion.
mhm,
Even Dream has been kicking ass lately.
yeah,
They got Logic's shorts, right? He's been scary with that AK lately.
yeah.
Like we've
Mhm,
been doing a few scrims with him, and he can just one tap those heads. Like it feels
mhm,
like I'm fighting Liam from the EU, right?
yeah, mhm,
It's crazy. I
yeah,
think the whole league, just every season, just gets better and better and
yeah.
better, and I love that. I love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I love like at the end of the day, like, yeah, we might not be getting salaries or anything, but I still think of us as professionals in both sense of the word. Like we're all pretty solid at the game, and we all try to represent ourselves in the best way. And so like I like, as much as I want to, you want to see your team kick ass, or I want to see my team just win it all or whatever. Like I also love seeing like all new faces come in, and like, people who you haven't seen really that much in league just coming in and just like absolutely dominate. Like there's so many like even like from when I've joined, there's definitely been like a few new players that have really just come in and just done super well. And it's like once you start playing this season, and it's just like, whoa, like it's amazing.
Yeah,
um
as long as you understand the core mechanics of the game, it really only takes a few hundred hours to
yeah,
be phenomenal at winning gunfights. And then
yeah,
at that point, it just comes down to being able to
mhm,
play as a team.
yeah. Dave asks, what about unicorn holders? Best team, they're gonna win everything, no cap. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
Dave.
want to bring them up because I didn't want to draw attention to how they're going to definitely win the championship. But
Yeah,
just let us win, Dave.
yeah,
I know you can code your hacks and
yeah,
just like give everyone on our team 1 HP,
yeah,
but don't do that, please. Thank
yeah.
you.
Joey asks, do you think there will be no more cross region, like for matches and stuff?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea
Yeah.
how the vote is for that. Like, I can see both ways. Like, on the one hand, it kind of sucks to play with ping.
Hmm.
On the other hand, it also kind of sucks to be in a tiny ass
Yeah.
league, right? Like the Asia Pacific League is so small. The EU
Hmm.
League is smaller than NA. And if you look at like the NA League, there's several teams in the master tier that can all compete with each other.
Yeah.
But in the EU League, at least last season and probably next season, I don't want to make too many assumptions, but you really just have one team in the master league and they're just worlds above everyone else. So I feel like the EU League will just be a boring league, if there's no crossplay with
I
NA. So
mean,
I don't know.
and as somebody who's I mean, as somebody who's trying to like get to know everybody in the league, like I've been playing in some of the VA mixed friendlies and just playing like with all the EU people just to like understand how they play, what's their play style, what do they do, and just to like know more people, because at the end of the day, like meeting people is amazing, and that's also why I want to land, because I just want to like bull with everyone after the games. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
just meet but I mean, especially like the whole point of like getting that star next to your name is that you're a world champion. And
Right.
that means that you have won the season, and you've bested everybody else in the world, and not just like your region. You know what I mean? And I think that would be why we should have like a LAN at the end of the day, because it would be interesting to see like how do these like Oceania, Australia, like the Asia Pacific, how do they like play on LAN instead of having them play at 200 250 ping, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think ultimately we're working towards LAN, but we're just not there yet
Mhm.
because the scene is too small.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth it. Like, you're gonna have a bunch of people who could go to the LAN, but just simply don't want to because it's like, I don't want to fly to America and do this LAN thing, right?
Mhm.
Like, to win a haptic vest, you
Yeah.
know, like, but
Mhm.
in the future when the league is bigger
Yeah.
and it's just more, I don't know,
I think it's
when VR is more mainstream,
yeah,
then
exactly. I think
that'd be cool.
it comes down to that too, right? Like, there's only so like we can promote the shit out of VR, like whatever game we're playing, like whether it's Pop 1 or Pav or whatever, we could promote the shit out of that, and some people might see it. And like, admittedly, like a lot of people understand what VR is because they'll watch somebody like Swagger Souls or Josh Dub, and they have millions of
Yeah.
subscribers, and they do like their TTT shit, and it's funny. It's like, or people will do like, we played Among Us in VR, or we did this in VR, and it's like it's starting to get there, but at the same time, like I think it just needs a little bit more traction. But
Yeah.
especially with the pandemic, Joey is saying too, but VR has really taken off this year. You start seeing it more in commercials. You start seeing it in like Hulu shows, like,
Mhm.
and so especially with the Quest as well. I mean, just because of the price and because you don't have to play it like, or you don't have to have it like a PC for it. Like I had one of my coworkers when I was like a graduate assistant asking me like, about VR, like what should I get my husband because he really likes playing like computer games and stuff. I'm like, I mean, you can get the Quest, that's fine.
Yeah, I always recommend the Quest
Yeah.
too, as much as I don't like Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing too, like it really depends on like, are you like somebody who wants to do like professional gaming or just wants like a really premium experience, or do you just somebody who's going to play VR every now and then? And admittedly, I was kind of that person who played VR every now and then, and I probably shouldn't have bought an index, but also graduation present, let me do my own thing, and here I am on a team now. So,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Joey's also saying new PS5 controllers, like PSVR
Oh,
2.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
PSVR 2. It's gonna be
that's
cross-play with Quest,
Quests, I
presumably, right?
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna open it up to
We're getting left in the dust, man.
it's gonna be a whole wave of players.
I mean,
But
maybe eventually we'll have crossplay between everything, who
yeah,
knows?
I
But
mean, maybe Quest 3 will live up to like PC VR in terms of like quality.
who
But
knows, right? Because PC VR will always get better, so maybe it'll
mhm,
always be
yeah.
too many steps ahead. I don't know.
I mean, I intend on using my index until it becomes outdated. I mean, that's kind of why I
Yeah,
decided against the Vive, because it was 2020 and the Vive was outdated in like 2018.
yeah, good choice. Yeah, the Vive's definitely outdated.
Even though you still use a Vive controller, but that's different because it's a controller and it feels good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have my reasons.
But yeah, I mean, I agree that VR is really taken off, and I think everybody that's watching this right now, and people that will watch this in the future, they want to see VR grow to something huge, to like, especially like the esports scene, like they want to see like Counter-Strike levels of like viewership. Like
Mm,
every single major, you're seeing like a million people watching on Twitch, and then packing stadiums, and people doing this for full-time salaries and whatnot. And
yeah, dude.
because I mean, we've gotten sponsors, like VRML is sponsored by like HyperX and stuff, and that's
Yeah,
like a step in the right direction. And so I think it's a matter of everything just gets a little bit more viewership, and we start helping more people get into VR in the first place. Like, you've been
yeah.
doing tutorials, I've been doing tutorials, like, or just like, even if you're in a lobby, like I know like Handy Clapper, for example, he's helped like 400 people learn how to plant a bomb because they were too lazy to do the goddamn tutorial. Like,
Exactly.
and I mean, like, that's another thing too, is like VR is like accessible in a way. Like, Handy Clapper can just sit in a wheelchair and play VR, like, or
As long as the game does the controls right, it's quite
exactly.
intuitive.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Because
that's
unlike, like, if I give my dad an Xbox controller and I'm like, okay, play Halo, he's like, how do I move and look at
yeah,
the same time? He
yeah,
can't fucking figure it out. But in
yeah,
VR,
yeah.
you
It's
look, right? It's
it's
easy.
like it's like he's used he's shot a rifle at the range probably before. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
literally, yeah, I let my dad try Pavlov, and he's like, oh, this is cool. I'm shooting a gun. It's
yeah,
not the same as real life, but he
yeah.
still
And
took to it.
you learn the whole movement thing, and like, I think a lot of things too is just like, for some people, like, you have to get over like the motion sickness or nausea from it. Like,
That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
all right, this is how much of a scrub I am. I still cannot use smooth turning. That shit just does not make me feel good.
So yeah, when I did smooth turn, I felt weird for like a day, and then I got over it. So there's a lot of like just I don't know if it's genetics or what, but some people just really can't do it. Like
Yeah.
my girlfriend, I tried to get her to try Pavlov. I tried to get her to try just a simple. It was like the zombie game. What is it? Saints and Sinners. And as
Yeah.
soon as she put the headset on and like looked around, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna puke." Like just that little. I don't know what it was, but she just could not handle it.
Yeah.
And some people
Yeah.
that's the biggest, I think, hurdle for VR right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like usually, like I'll maybe like blink if I'm gonna do like a direction change, like if I'm doing like smooth turning or whatever. And but still, I think it's just like the idea of like your head isn't turning with what you're seeing. You're just like, whoa, what the like? It's like you're yeah. And so I mean, I still think I've been doing fine for snap turning, but still, it's just like half the time I just do my like turns and flicks like with like my actual head and everything, and just like. If I'm like,
I mean, usually that is superior anyways.
Yeah.
Like smooth turn is more of a convenience
Yeah.
in most cases. There are some cases where smooth turn is a actual advantage. That's why I do recommend people to try to get good at smooth turn. But yeah,
I'm not one of those people. I'm sorry.
maybe one day, just give it a little bit.
Just not today. But
yeah.
I think do we have any more viewer questions at all? Let's I think we can end this with some viewer questions or maybe like one more thing because I think we're gonna go for a max of like 2 hours just to
I definitely have to get off. I have a practice in 15 minutes.
Oh boy. Yeah, so ask your questions. We'll spend like five minutes or whatever, and then I think we will call it for now. But we'll kind of wait for that. But I mean, thank you again for like popping on in the first place. Like I'm super psyched that you even agreed to do this in the first place.
Oh no, this is a lot of fun. I've never done podcasts before the Pavlov Scrubs one, but I'm down to do more of these.
And
cool.
we did it last week, and it was actually a lot of fun. And Explosion in Ireland are definitely like every new episode, they're like headed more in the right direction. And so, if you haven't checked out that podcast at all, you should go check out the Pavlov Scrubs podcast. Just type in Pavlov Scrubs on YouTube, you'll probably find it. If not, you can also go find their Discord. Alan, I give you full permission to just say hey and shout it the fuck out because you guys are doing really solid with that, and you should also check that out if you want to, especially for those of you that like aren't involved in League and want to get more involved in League and know everybody. Because I mean, I know personally I'm kind of like a social butterfly, or more so, especially that I've gone to college and been an adult and all that. But I mean, I like meeting new people, and so I think that's really good. Like the Pavlov Scrubs podcast is definitely doing a really good job with that. But
so Kraka was asking top 3 teams at the end of the season. I assume you are asking what I think the top, like the best 3 teams will be at the end of the season. It's going to be the same as last season, in my opinion. It's going to be Thinking, Wrecked, and Royalty. But if you discount EU, then I think the 3rd place will be either Voltron or I don't know. Voltron or Dream. I mean, it's pretty standard answer, I'd say, because it's pretty close to what it is now.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see if like any more like big changes like happen with like S&D meta and stuff. And if it is like it is right now, I'm obviously fine with it too. Like this will be an interesting season, and it'll be the first time that we don't like have trigger sprint or like things are changing a little bit, and
so the meta will shift, but anytime there's a meta shift, the good players aren't like. I think there's a lot of people who somehow think that they can just like a patch is going to just change who the best teams are. Like that's really not how it works. I'm sorry, the best players are not there because
some patch or
because
some
the patch.
Bullshit,
It's because they are good at learning and adapting, right? So when a patch happens, they're going to adapt to that. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. Kraka says $5 to say Vortex. Sorry, I don't think Vortex is top 3. Sorry, YellowHat. But I do think you guys can make top 5 for sure if you guys keep at it.
Our goal, admittedly, is to try to get into Masters this season, and I very well think we can do that. At least Masters for NA.
You guys easily could make it to Masters, yes.
Yeah, because as far as I know, like we held Masters for a while, and then like the end of the season, like we just dropped into gold. But I mean, I definitely like I'm not going to toot my own horn. This isn't the yellow hat. I'm gonna brag about myself, but but yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of other teams that I think are gonna do really solid too. Like, it's going to be an interesting season, especially with, you know, everything that has changed in the past 3 months, and just seeing how everybody plays now, and, you know, like how team, like, and especially with all the roster changes, like we were talking about, like how these new players are going to fit into these existing teams and how they're going to work and all that. So I mean,
Yeah.
Uprise. Oh yeah.
Bring back Uprise.
Yeah. And then Vision talks about the FAMAS. We didn't even talk about the FAMAS today. This is another time.
The FAMAS is still really hella strong. Nobody can fucking complain about the FAMAS. I want the FAMAS back. The FAMAS is still here.
It's still
good. Shut up. It's good still.
If we're gonna talk about the FAMAS, we need more apple juice. So
yeah.
But if nobody's got any more questions, then I think we're gonna call it for right now. Chill, thank you for doing this in the first place again. I'll probably say that like 500,000 more times, but I appreciate your time being here. And
anytime, man.
You know, I look forward to, you know, episode 2 whenever we decide to do that, whether it's like a weekly thing or whatever works out. And thank you everybody in chat for sticking around for a while. You guys are awesome, and you guys really had some good questions, and, you know, just kept everything going. So thank you all for kind of hanging out, and, you know, I hope to see you guys at the next one whenever we do that. And for all of you that followed, I appreciate the absolute fuck out of you. And in addition to following me, you should follow Chillst3p, and his links are below his beautiful face, and my links are below my beautiful face. And I don't know if there's anybody else to shout out, but if not, you've got your links right there. Go follow those people, and, you know, I think that's really it. So again, thanks for being on, and thanks for everybody for hanging out. And I think that's gonna close it for episode 1. So have a good night, and see you guys next time.
See you.